Hello. This is kind of an in-between here. Um, so what we're doing, we have the eye, and we've created this in Maya, and we had applied the ramp shader to it. But what would be better is if we actually kind of revised our UVs and brought this thing into ZBrush and then sculpted it from here. And so creating our UVs, if we take a look at them, I can click this workspace here, this drop down, and go into UV editing. And when I do, I get this dual screen. I can see the UVs. They're laid out like a square, and I can see the seam going right up here. If I right click on here and go to edge, I can click and drag over all the edges. And I can go to uh, move and sew. That'll lock them together. It's still laid out like a square. But if I wanted to, I can make these even cleaner than this. I can take this part, I can double click on this edge here, and I can just click right at the top of the UV editor and do a Shift X. That will cut the UVs in that particular area. I can also double click on this inner part of the eye that I created. We're going to make that as a different section. So I will do, again, click here in the top of the UV editor, Shift X. That'll create three separate UV shells. I can go into my UV shell selection mode here and click and drag. Let's see what happens if I click and drag over all these UV shells and I do a Control or Command U. There we go. And here I can see I have this shell. We can see the shell here on the right in the display. This is the front. This one here is the back. And this one here is the interior, the inside of the eye there. So that's great. We can click and drag to select all of these and click R to scale them and W to move them into place. So you got this one here, this one down here, this one on this side. I'll click and drag and click R. I want to scale these down. There we go. I want to make sure and save this. Let's see, I've already been saved previously. Okay, so now we have that. We've created this UV map for it. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go into object mode. Then I can go to File, Export Selection. I'm going to export it as an OBJ. Here we go, OBJ. Call it eyecolor. Export selection. Great. I'm going to start up ZBrush. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go to import. I get a window that opens. Select it, eyecolor, OBJ, open. Click and drag. And turn off my light box, turn on edit. So I have it, but I have this thing on the back. So far, this has been happening to me with my latest ZBrush. So if you get that, where you get the square locked on the back, I can just simply go to Document, New Document. I want to save changes, and I'm going to click and drag here. There we have it. I'll click Edit. Here's the front of it. So at this point, I am going to click, well, first I'll click here for the material. I'll turn it to a basic material and white. I'll click Geometry, Divide. Divided it once. Let's see, I'll go ahead and divide it another time. Maybe even divide it again. Okay. I have that. Let's see what happens if I sculpt on it. S will bring my resolution down. I'll click divide one more time. Why not? So I have 5 subdivisions. I can go to where am I going to? I'm going to go to Polypaint, and I'm going to click Colorize. So that's good. Turn that on. I'm going to turn on RGB so that I'm coloring as well as sculpting. I'm going to go ahead and go up to my color menu here, and let's select blue, and I'll put it kind of as a off blue, and click fill object. So that's kind of that soft blue. Let's see, I'm going to start painting the areas of the eye. I will go to transform, and I'm going to go to activate symmetry, and I'm going to click R for radio. And let's see, I have my X on, so I'm going to go ahead, and I think it's Z instead of X. And you see that when I do that, I get this thing going on here on the end. So I'm going to turn off a Z add right now, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint. I'm going to paint this a dark. I'll start off with the kind of a dark blue here. Click S. Turn this up a little bit here. S. Turn this up. There we go. It's a dark blue, and then I'll turn this down even more. Right here, very dark blue. Edge, kind of this. And you can look at eyes. You can look at pictures of eyes to see kind of what they're looking like. I'm going to go ahead and change this to into the orangish side. I'm going to turn this into the very dark brown. the edge here, all the way to the middle. Turn this almost black here on the end here. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this all the way black. I'm going to go on the inside here. Turn this up just a little bit. And I'm filling the inside of it with black. And I can turn it to the side. Let's see, we can even do this. I can turn it to the side here. And I can do a control shift, and I'll click and drag right over the front of the eye so that this other half, we got it cut in half. Control shift, and then I clicked and dragged. Only this part will be visible. And now I can go ahead and just paint right on the inside. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, there we go. Very good. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a very light brown here. And I'm going to go right on the edge here of this rim. There we go. And let's see, darker brown here, right here. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to switch to a very lighter brown. And this time I'm going to turn on Z add. I'm going to turn on S to make this very small size here. And we'll go ahead and pull edges here. You see that? So I just pulled them out. You see that it does it all on these angles from the same time. And then I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna start making these things kind of vein out these parts of the eye. Right? They're coming kind of across. Right? Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna do a very dark brown, and this time instead of Z add, I'm gonna click to Z sub, and I'm gonna change my brush. I'm gonna change it to the DAM standard. I'm gonna use that to kind of go in between here, and this is cutting into the crevasses. Make it very dark. And same within these holes, we'll fill them. Okay. What do I think about this so far? I'll turn off my Z sub. I'll still have this on this very dark color. Let's go back to standard. Turn this up. And make it very, very dark, almost black here towards the end. Just have that Z sub on. Turn off Z sub. Paint it this dark color. There we go. What do I think about that? I can do probably more. Let's try, and if I want to, I got it on this real light color, and I can take my RGB intensity and turn it down to something like, I don't know, 70. Z add here. Turn this down to a real small size. I can turn off well, let's just try this first. Okay. So there I have that. I can go ahead and click Control and Shift. Control Shift and click once on the back. There we go. And now I'm going to so now I got this red. My RGB, I'll turn that back up to 100. I'll turn back on my transform. Turn back on my symmetry. That's on. Good. Turn up this brush size, and let's go ahead and fill this back here. And have it gradually be more red as it goes to the edge. Now we can turn back on Z add. I can turn back on, make again my brush size like super small. Got my RGB on 100%. That's good. And I can make it real dark red. And let's see, I'll turn back off my symmetry, and I can start adding veins. Okay, there I have it. I have my eye. Now this is pretty cool. I've added quite a bit to it. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I can change this. I painted this. I can change it to a texture and export it. I can also export out my OBJ. So what I'm going to do first is I'll go to Z plugin, multi-map exporter. I'm going to turn off displacement. Well, no, actually, maybe we'll have our displacement map. We got texture from PolyPaint. We make sure we have export options. We make sure displacement map is on. Smooth UV and 32-bit and EXR are on. And then we're going to click Create All Maps. And let's see, we'll go to eyecolor, and I'll click Save. It'll export one for TM for the texture map or the image, and then one for DM for displacement map. Okay. And now I want to export out this geometry as well because I put some sculpting in it, and it's a little bit smoother than what I had before with Maya. Like this is cool, it's okay, but what if I export out my geometry as, say, subdivision level 2? This might give me, or even, let's see, 3. And, that gives me a little bit more to work with. Maybe it's a little smoother. Maybe I can get away with 2. Yeah. And if I'm doing 2, shoot, I got to do my displacement map again. So let's just say subdivision level 2. I'll go to export. I'm going to export out my OBJ. God dang it. All right. This made it crash on me. I'll try this ZBrush. Okay, it says my most recent one was abnormally terminated. If I bring this over here, close out this window, open this up, and let's see where my thing here is. I have my quick save file, and it should be all the way on the right I'm looking for. Here I am, recovered tool. And click and drag, there we go. Go to edit, switch my material to basic, close my light box. And here I can go to save my Z tool, save as. I'll just call this I. Make sure I save it as a Z tool, save. And then from here, let's see, that was on geometry, subdivision level 2. I will export I as an OBJ, I color. Here I can even save over this one, I color, save, replace it. Yes, I do. I saved out those texture maps, but I need to resave them. So I go to eyes, and here I go. I have the EXR file. This one will still work. The EXR, though, I'm going to click. Well, I'll just click both of them. Click delete. And from this point, I will go to Z plugin, multi map exporter. And for my export options, for displacement map, I'm going to click subdivision level 2. That's the level that it'll aim for to make all my stuff, my detail come out. And then I will click create all maps. I want to designate here in this particular system eyes, there we go. So that's there. That's good. And I will call it eye color. Okay. So here I am in Maya, and okay, so the first thing I want to do, I have this eye that's here, but instead what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Import, where is it? .obj, and click Import. Here we go. This other one, I think this is the one that I don't really want. This is the new one. This is the old one. I'll click this one and delete it. So now I have this. I'll go ahead and click Save. I'm cool with that. And I can, let's see, I have this hyper shade. Before I applied the ramp, but we can take the ramp off. So the one that I want here is the AI standard. If you already have your AI standard, this is fine. You just take the ramp off where it was on for color. And let's see where we have base and then color. We're going to click here and we're going to actually, let's click where it says displacement. And I'll click my displacement material. And this window opens. I will click File. So right there where it said displacement material. Right here where it says displacement, I'll click that box. And here I will click Browse. So, oops. Here we go. idm.exr. This is my displacement map. So that's here. Here's displacement shader. Here's where it says File, this node. And that's where I click that box. I'm looking at, for our settings here, let's see. I have displacement shader. If I expand, I think where it says Arnold, and in my scalar value, I want to put that on, was that 0.5? I believe so. We have a thing here for our settings. We should have one. Maya settings, that was scalar value to 0.5. Yep, that's good. All that other stuff is pretty much set except for selecting the object. So let's see, we can select here for the object, and I can go to, am I looking for channel box, or I'm going for attribute editor. Okay, and then when I turn on, let's see, nope, tool settings, attribute editor, expand this area for, let's see, AI standards, right here. Eyecolor, and I'm looking for Arnold. I'm expanding that, and I'm going to this area that says subdivision, type, Cat Clark, my iterations, put that on, is that 4? Yep, and I think that's everything. Let's go ahead and do a render. Do a render. We'll do a Control S to save. Render, we can go to where it says, I'll turn off attribute editor. Um, Arnold lights, sky dome light. There we go. And if I go ahead and click my render view, or I can click renderer Arnold. And right here I get this box. I can click this play arrow. And do I see any detail? We should see something. I do see a little bit of something there. If I, that's kind of hard to see, but if I open back up, what was that? Attribute editor, high intensity, I'll turn this down. I think the eye itself, the color, I could turn down the color to like something mid-tone gray. And I might start to see some of these details. There you go, mid-tone gray. And now you can see like the edges and where it has some of these bumps and details of what we've sculpted. And start to see them there. We could see it for the veins as well. Look at that. We could see a little bit of lifting, that sculptedness on there. Cool. So for where it says here for base color, we'll click color. Let me make sure this is selected, my standard surface one. I'm going to select this, and this will be eyecolor _ matte for material. Where it says base and then color, I'll click this box, and I will, this create render node opens. I will click file, and where it says file, I'll click that. I'll click this browser, and let's see, we'll click computer. Eyes, and right here we're going to click ITM for texture map. Click open. There we go. And now we can see it. We can see it rendered our eye. So very cool. Here it is. Here's the one I made with the color and everything, the texture. And that is cool. Okay. So from this point, what we can do, I'm going to go ahead and switch my renderer back. Oops. I do turn that off. Renderer viewport. I'm going to close up this hypershade. I don't need it. I'm going to click back off here, just put on general. And so let's see, we'll come back to this. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, another thing, I'm going to click this here, the eye itself, and I'm going to go to mesh display, soften edge. There we go. That'll make it, let's see, object mode, mesh display, soften edge. There we go. Now it's nice and soft.